So I managed to film a whole introduction while it was being quiet out there, and I've just realised now that the power tool started that I hadn't actually hit record. Frustrated. Hello and welcome to my studio. I'm Noemi from Pigeon Art and hopefully I'm recording this time. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made these hand warmers. I actually made up the design for these quite a few years ago when I was working in a garage making tablecloths. So it was really cold in winter and I needed a way to keep my hands warm, but I still needed to have access to my fingers. All you need to know is cast on, rib, stocking stitch, and then cast off. You'll also need a needle that's got an eye big enough that will take yarn in it so that you can sew up these bits together on this end. It's a really simple design. One flat piece of knitting, and then we're just going to go and sew them together where the ribbing is, basically. This is a different design to the ones I'm wearing, and I'm making these for my friend Beth, who I promised to make this for maybe 3 winters ago, and if you're watching Beth, this might be the year that you actually get them. But yes, she wanted a longer glove, and not as long at the top. I was following a design that she had hand warmers that she bought, and I was following that design. This looks really small, but because it's a rib stitch, it is extra stretchy. I'm going to give you the pattern for these ones, but then you can adapt it. The number of stitches you cast on, and the number of rows you have will have to depend on your hand, the size of the yarn you're using, the size of the needles you're using. It might take a bit of trial and error for you to get the right size for you. So you may have a couple of gloves that are too big or too small, but hopefully it's not too hard for you. This is the bottom. And I know this because this bit goes around my wrist. I've shaped it this way so that it comes in around my wrist, which is the smallest part of my hand. When I change the direction of the stocking stitch, see, this is just the other side of the stocking stitch, it comes outwards for my hands, the shape of my hand. Cast on 34 stitches, 9 rows of rib, 6 rows of stocking stitch, then on the next row of knit, instead of doing the row after that as a rib, do it as another knit, and that's going to reverse where the stocking stitch is going. So that's how you get this look. 22 rows of stocking stitch, that's for your palms and where your thumb is going to go, and then 12 rows of rib and then cast off. So if you try that the first time, then you can get a good idea of how that fits on your hand, and then you can maybe give that another shot if it's wrong. I find I actually don't have a consistent knitting tightness, so sometimes I knit much looser than other times, so I actually find that I might follow the same pattern and it will look very different from one hand to the other. But I don't actually mind if one glove is smaller than the other, as you can probably tell, because as long as it's warming my hands, that is all that matters to me. So if you don't know how to do any of the stitches I've just mentioned, which was cast on, cast off, and a knit stitch, check out this video. And if you don't know how to do any of the purl stitches, so purl, rib, or stocking stitch, check out that video. Using a hand sewing needle and some leftover yarn, we'll sew the sides together to finish off your gloves. Sew along the rib parts and the part where your wrist is. By this I mean the part with the stocking stitch, which goes inwards for your wrist, like I mentioned earlier. Leave an opening for your thumb where the stocking stitch goes, and sew the rib stitches together on the other side of the thumb. And there you go. It's actually really nice. Alright, so I hope this video was helpful to you. I've got the two different styles that I made right here on my hands. I'm actually really liking how this one feels, and I feel like if you had a coat over this, you wouldn't get that cold wrist. You'd have a little bit more protection, put it this way, than if you had this one. So look, my next pair that I make for myself, I may make another pair like this. I've put the pattern below, so in the description, so if you need to have another look at that pattern, have a look there. And guys, if you are following along and you want to share it with me, I would love to see it. Please send it to my Instagram or any of my socials. I will put them below as well. This isn't the end of my knitting videos. I actually have another really cute idea. I just have to sort of tweak the pattern a little bit more before I share it with you. Stay tuned for them if you are into knitting videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.